What's going on, guys? Welcome back to United View. Hope everyone is doing very well. Welcome back to another Transfer View. Yes, it's Friday. It's the 13th. Friday the 13th. I've just clocked that, Marcel. Oh, unlucky for some. Not for Manchester United, because we're hoping today that Wout Weghorst will be officially announced as a Manchester United player. Not yet. We're waiting. There's kind of a deadline, a bit of a countdown to midday, of course, because he has to be registered before midday today to be in the squad for tomorrow's Manchester derby. So we're going to be talking all about that. Some updates from Romano this morning. We'll have our eye out from United if there is an update. We've got some other news regarding it as well, which is quite interesting too. We're going to be talking about the summer transfer window too, summer transfer window budgets, because there's also an update suggesting that given the financial situation of the club right now, we might have to sell to buy in the summer. If we don't qualify for the Champions League, we could be in a lot of trouble when it comes to the summer. Takeover or not, bit of doom and gloom. We're going to reach it back with a bit more doom and gloom, actually, because about the stadium, those plans are on hold when it comes to redeveloping it. But to end on a positive note, particularly for you, Marcel, we're going to be talking about a summer striker search involving one Harry Kane. Could you imagine? Could you imagine? So plenty to discuss this morning. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right-hand corner. Remember, you can join the UV Members Club too. Link in the video description. It's also the pinned comment in the live chat as well. Before we get into any news, though, one thing I do want to clear up, because I have seen this in a couple of comments or people reached out to me in terms of emails and stuff like that. We did our competition giveaway the other day. It was won by Blakey. Congratulations, Blakey. Shirt's coming soon. But I have seen a couple of other people say, oh, we got comments from people saying that I'd won or they'd won, to reach out to like a Telegram thing or whatever. Just so you know, that is not us. Report that Telegram account. We would never. One, we don't have a Telegram account. Two, we would never ask to pay you to pay us for shipping or anything like that. So just keep an eye out. The internet, unfortunately, can be not the best place in the world. People can try and take advantage. I think people look for the term giveaway and then try and take advantage of that. So just note that is not us, and we are on it. We are removing those comments and reporting them as well. So just wanted to get that out of the way from the start. If you're watching live or after the fact as well, Marcel, happy Friday. How are you doing? Welcome back to UVHQ.
Beautiful place to be. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Owen. Just a lot of things that you said there. I mean, regarding transfers, the stuff going on during the summer potentially, getting Weghorst maybe registered as soon as possible. I think we're going to need him obviously for the game tomorrow, and just positive regarding obviously the game tomorrow. I think it's a huge opportunity for us to pick up points, and it's at home as well. We was obviously speaking off air about the games coming up. A lot of speculation around Chelsea. Obviously, Man United, City, the big game, Pep, what he's been saying. So, plenty to talk about today.
Plenty to talk about. And, Josh, if you can go to the wide shot briefly, and this is what it is here at United View. It's utmost professionalism. Just look at the size difference on the desk this morning. Because, I mean... Marcel came in this morning and he was sort of saying...
This is unfair. This is built for normal-sized people. And there's an issue. There's an issue with that, and I've been complaining to HR.
Yeah, well,
I've been complaining to Josh.
I was saying as well that so there have been, whilst we've been away over the holidays, there's been some redevelopments here. We've got more redevelopments here than Old Trafford, and one of them is that wheels were put back on this desk, which made it move up maybe an inch. And I said, is it because the desk was lifted? And Marcel went, yes, so, and that could be exactly it. And Josh went, it's about an inch. And I said, well, that's a tenth of Marcel's height. It's real. So that's part of the problem.
Do you know what I mean? It's unfair. I think that's unfair.
He sat in the chair and went, my feet aren't touching the floor. He's like MODOK. He's flying around in his little chair with his legs dangling. You will understand that reference by the end of February, March? I think that film comes out, Josh. Excellent reference. Nevertheless, we're going to get into some transfer news. Let's start off talking about Wout Weghorst, Marcel, because of course yesterday we got the Here We Go from Fabrizio Romano. The hope is, the expectation is, this deal will get done and officially announced today. Again, it needs to be confirmed, or he needs to be registered by midday to play tomorrow, or at least be in the squad. Romano's tweeted this morning saying, understand Wout Weghorst deal will not include a buy option clause. Manchester United have completed the signing on loan until June from Burnley. Weghorst has completed medical tests and documents have been signed. However, as of right now, we haven't got an official announcement from the club or anything like that. I think, and again, this is kind of the information that we're getting this morning, is that there is a hope that this will get wrapped up today and it will get announced before midday and he'll be registered before midday. However, it still is kind of uncertain. There is still a bit of a complexity surrounding the tri-party nature of this. It's between 3 clubs. It's not just between us and Burnley. It's between us, Burnley and Besiktas. So there are still loose ends to tie up, but the hope is that it will get announced today and he will be registered in time. How are you feeling about Weghorst? Would you like to see him tomorrow in the squad?
Yeah, no, 100% Owen. Would like to see him, but we need him. We need players, I've been saying that and I've been branding it as a striker crisis. We don't have as many forwards as we would like, for the squad, and Ten Hag needs that selection process. I think, the game demands so many different types of strikers at times. But I think it's a bit wishful thinking potentially. I think we've got so much more time in the window to get things done. So, but we'd want him for obviously the big game. I don't know. Obviously, Abu Bakr, I think, has to go to Besiktas. I've been reading maybe that potentially that has to happen. So Besiktas might be, waiting on that. And I think the transfers in general don't take as quickly as this. This has been quite a smooth process. Weghorst has been obviously doing his bit as well, just showing that he really wants to get it done. He's been doing his bit as well in terms of, I think, a fee that he had to pay or something just to free himself.
Well, he would have been willing to do it, certainly, when it came to all that. I mean, again, it all happened really quickly yesterday, actually. We were here at the desk yesterday, Flex and myself, and it kind of just all spiraled very, very quickly. He went into the Besiktas offices in Istanbul, signed his sort of termination of the loan contract and all that kind of stuff. Flew to Manchester yesterday. He's done his medical, but as is the case with all of these things, football transfers are more complicated than you or I even know. There's a really good documentary, I think, at the moment. I think Sky are doing it. I think it's Sky Documentaries, and it's about like deadline day and the football transfer window. And I think for one of the first times, certainly, they followed a lot of different people around, agents, actual football players, just to see what goes into these deals, how complex they can be, and particularly foreign players as well when it comes into, in this post-Brexit world, work visas, work permits, all that kind of stuff. Fortunately for Weghorst, he currently technically plays in England anyway because he's a Burnley player. You would hope that would speed up the process, but there are still some I's to be dotted, some T's to be crossed. I think you're right. I think the main thing is this replacement for Besiktas. They've got a game tomorrow, I believe it is as well. They'll want a striker. So the countdown's on. Less than 3 hours to go until midday, and we'll have to wait and see. Again, the hope is that he would be announced and confirmed by then. Even if he is, Marcel, I mean, it's not as if he's going to start tomorrow, is it? He'd be on the bench, right? Yeah,
and that's useful, man. We've seen the massive drop-off in quality once you put Elanga maybe in the forward line. This is now a proper focal point 9 that can obviously offer certain attributes to the team. There's little technicalities as well that I would like to know in terms of if he plays for Burnley have already been in the competition, like for the FA Cup or whatever it would be. Can he play for Man United again then?
Yeah, I think he would, because he wouldn't have played for Burnley in that competition. I mean, again, I don't know how that even works when it comes to FA Cup or Carabao Cup. I mean, I understand it for Europe, but I don't think that would be the case there. So I think he would be fine. So I think you're right. I think for games like the Carabao Cup semi-finals, very strong chance he probably starts in at least one of those games. As we've said yesterday, and I've said a couple of times here, that actually I really do think he's going to play more games than people think. I think this idea that he's just going to be this backup option that comes on for 10 minutes when Martial comes off, I think is way off it. I really do. I think that, again, Martial cannot play every game. He can't even play one full game, let alone a game every 3 days.
Exactly.
And who's to say if Wout Weghorst comes in and scores a couple of goals, or his link-up play is good, or his pressing is good, and we as a cohesive team look a bit sharper or better in sort of pressing or anything like that, who's to say Ten Hag just goes, actually, you know what? He's here to the end of the season. Martial, win your spot back. Show me your fitness, because I've got a guy who is going to be fit. He is going to be available. And that's going to be interesting too.
You're right. And I wouldn't be surprised if he does that, because, it's happened. He's had a little interchange with the fullback positions, interchanges with, Casemiro and Scott. If you earn your right to play, and if you play well, you get rewarded. We've seen that throughout this season. If you play well, you get rewarded. Like a great point in terms of Tony Martial. He can't play all these games. He's at 70% now. He's at 60%, if that. And he needs a rest. He actually needs a rest. And from I've been saying it. From December the 31st to the 4th of February, it's what, 7, 8, 9, 10 games that we've been playing.
Ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. So, and we've just had so many fixtures moved because of it, new games to play. And it's good. We're fighting on 4 different fronts, but you need another striker in there. And I'm glad that he'll be part of that mix and hopefully can hit the ground running.
Who's to say, actually, thinking towards some of the bigger games that we have. Okay, tomorrow, if he's registered in time, bench, certainly. Arsenal, you would... Away from home, it might be slightly different. This is the interesting thing, isn't it? Away from home, it might be slightly different because we might be a little bit more direct.
Yeah.
We're not going to have as much of the ball. It'll be curious to see what he's like in transition.
Yeah, that's the kind of things you need to look at.
Because I think that what we have seen this a couple of times, even when we've been playing at home recently, that we still are this team that will win the ball back. Casemiro, quick pass up the pitch, out wide to Rashford or Anthony, drive up the pitch. Yeah. Your forward's got to get up there. Is he going to be that kind of? I mean, this is also the thing. Actually, is that people will say like, oh, he's because he's really tall, he's not going to be mobile. We don't know that.
Yeah.
We don't know if he's not mobile. We don't know that kind of part of it. So that's an interesting thing too.
We have to see what type of striker he is. We're seeing. Well, I've been told obviously he's good at pressing. He's quite quick for his height. But if it's a possession-based team and we have a domination of the ball in the opposition's half, I think lots of crosses might be coming in, and that's where he might be able to profit. But if it, like you're saying, on transition, I think Tony Marshall, comes, helps with the build-up, gets the ball to Bruno quicker maybe, and like you're saying, we play out to the wide areas. But if we're dominating the ball for a majority of the game, I've seen Ten Hag use the likes of Haller in that kind of system where we're working the ball up and then there's someone clear there to finish that's got the height, crosses from the likes of Anthony and so forth. So, and his pressing game as well, when without being the ball, is he more proactive than Martial?
That's the thing that's the thing I'm really interested in. That stat is kind of wild, isn't it? That he had like the most presses or the best pressing stats in the Premier League last season, particularly when he was playing for a side like Burnley.
Yeah.
And again, I think the judgment on him for it not going right at Burnley, I think is really harsh.
Yeah.
I think because anywhere else he's been, he's got a goal every other game. That's his record, 1 and 2. Yeah. Now, if he keeps it up at United, unbelievable. I don't think he will, but they point to, but it was 2 and 20 last season. And this is the strange thing about life, Marcel. Let's get a bit philosophical here, because why do we focus on the failures and the negatives as opposed to everywhere else he's been, it's been positive?
I don't know. I don't know. And on top of that, that's a Burnley version of him. When he comes under the Ten Hag system, we've seen Ten Hag improve players. So the Man United version of Weghorst might be completely different. Giving him another chance as well, if you want to be philosophical. Sorry, yeah. You give people another opportunity, and they might be able to hit it. Hit the ground running, and he seems like very hungry to play. We've been saying for a long time, we just want players to be hungry, play for the shirt. He's automatically got rid of his loan deal, his contract, and he's wanting to play. It's a huge opportunity for him. That's the kind of footballers that we want at the club.
Yeah, and look, he's playing with better players.
Yeah.
Playing with better players, better service, more opportunities. We create a lot of opportunities as well.
Yep.
So here's hoping. Be sure to smash a like on the like button, guys. Got over 700 people watching. Get to 150 likes, 200. Easier start off as we mean to go on. Axadu with a super chat says, don't you guys think we need a backup/rotation option for Eriksen? There's lots of positions we need backup/rotation options for, I think. Again, when it comes to other January business, we're going to kind of touch on this a bit later on, but I'm surprised we've managed to get, and this is assuming the Weghorst deal gets done, which it should do, I'm surprised we've managed to get 2 loan signings, to be honest.
I'm happy that we've managed to get 2 loan signings in. I was saying that we needed reinforcements, otherwise we'll suffer the second half of the season. A rotation option for Eriksen, it's a good question. I think Bruno ends up being maybe in that position. In terms of being on the transition, he's someone that can play those hero balls, for want of a better word, and it's very good on the transition. You want him in the central areas, so maybe Bruno gets rotated there. Who goes in as your number 10? I don't know. I actually don't know. But we've seen Kobe there. Okay, nowhere near the level, but it would have been Donny, but unfortunately Donny got injured.
Yeah.
Sancho, maybe when he arrives, can maybe go there. But I do agree, he's another player that's maybe at 80%. Eriksen, maybe, because he does start to get a bit tired and leggy towards the end of the game, and then you rotate Fred in. Maybe it's Fred. He's played all right for the last few games. Maybe it's Fred, and he just does a job, protects obviously the midfield 2 6s, and maybe does a lot of pressing higher up the pitch, because I think that's what we need, is that proactiveness in the forward line. So
yeah,
you could help that.
A couple of member priority chats. Ed says he's mobile for a big guy, but he's obviously no Rashi. Going back to the mobility of Wout Weghorst, see what else some of the members are saying. John James says, good morning UV family, with all of the emojis. There's the Owen emoji. There's the Marcel emoji with the bucket hat. There's a KG bomb emoji there as well. It also says Weghorst hasn't played for Burnley this season. Just Besiktas, referring to again Marcel's question if he was cup tied or anything like that. Dale also says Weghorst has completed medical tests and documents have been signed, which is the update we just said about from Fabrizio Romano as well. So yeah, again, that's kind of the update when it comes to Wout Weghorst at the moment. Again, we're just kind of waiting. It's the waiting game now. Again, the hope is the information that we were receiving this morning. The hope is that it would get done today. There is still details to be done. There is still some complexities, again, because there's 3 clubs involved in this. If anything, and I know it's not popular to give the club credit on anything when it comes to transfers, but from what at points looked like a complex deal to do, because it involved 3 parties and it involved getting a player that was on loan at another club with no recall option. The fact that United have managed to get this done fairly quickly is a positive. And let's be honest, actually, Marcel, if he is in the squad tomorrow, that's a bonus.
Yeah.
Because I don't think many people expected it. Even a few days ago, people didn't expect him to be in that squad against Man City. The fact that he would be, and he could be an option off the bench, would be a bonus. I think the general expectation was probably Palace he'd be available for, probably Arsenal he'd be available for. So that even if he could be on the bench and could be an option tomorrow, particularly, look, if we were 1-0 down, or it's 0-0, or it's 1-1, or whatever it may be, and we could bring him on 10 minutes, that would be a bonus. That would be something that we weren't expecting to happen.
Yeah, it'll definitely add to us. It'll definitely add to the team, and I think it benefits us. If he can be part of the team tomorrow. But I don't know. It's a tough ask in terms of getting that over the line. If it does, like you said, I don't think he starts. So we was always going to have a setup or a team without him starting, which is the main thing. Who you're going to put out. But it's a Ten Hag player. I think it's someone that Ten Hag wants, even though it's within the context of not a lot of money available, not a lot of options, and an efficient board in the Glazers. Yeah. But it's somebody that Ten Hag wants, and if he can produce something for us in that game, which I think he will be able to, I'm sure Ten Hag has a plan for him. Then I'm happy to have him part of the side.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm all in with Eric Ten Hag at this point in time. I'm all in, and again, I know the criticism from opposition fans has been, you're signing a Burnley reject, and how embarrassing, how this, how that. Look, if the manager wants him and the manager thinks he can get the best out of him and the manager thinks he can positively contribute, then I don't have a problem with it. Eric Ten Hag's track record so far with signing players, apart from Dubravka, I'm sorry to say, apart from that, it's been pretty strong. It's been pretty good. So if Ten Hag feels like he's the personality, and that's the key thing, the personality. If he feels he's got the personality to handle being a United player, that's the key thing. He said it in the interview himself, didn't he? You have to be able to handle the weight of the shirt. And he certainly believes that Wout Weghorst can do that. I mean, the reports were yesterday that Weghorst was desperate to be in the squad tomorrow because, let's face it, he thinks, look, I'm going to be at the club for 6 months. There's no buy option as well. Most likely, I know it's a stopgap. I know I'm only going to be at United 6 months and then I'm going to go back to Burnley or go wherever unless it goes really, really well. I may never, ever, ever have the chance to play in a Manchester derby for Manchester United again. They've already played them once this season. It's the only other time they're going to play them unless something happens in, like, I don't know, the FA Cup or whatever. But the point being is, I will never have this opportunity again. Let's make it happen. And again, even that kind of personality is what I want to see. It's not just, I want to sign for the club. It's, I want to play tomorrow. I want to be in a Manchester derby. You're only going to be on the bench. Great. No problem. I just want to be involved. I want to contribute. I'll come off the bench. And again, I'll be a bastard coming off the bench. Because that's what he was at the World Cup. When he was on the bench, he got booked. And he came on. What did he do? Scored 2 goals. Took it to extra time. So you need that
energy. Yeah, it's perfectly put. And I remember KG, I think I heard KG saying, that's an opportunity to tell his family as well. Look, I played for Man United at one stage. And that's the kind of personality you want, man. We need that kind of energy, hungry to play for the club. He sounds like a supporter. I'm pretty sure every single fan, every single person part of the community would want to play even 20 minutes. Just 20 minutes to get on for Man United. So you want that kind of culture that he's only adding to the fire and the hunger of the team right now. And we're in a good moment and we need reinforcements. We honestly need them because we're going to suffer the second half of the season. If you don't get an extra player in the forward line, I genuinely feel like it's a bit of a crisis. And this player comes in, wants to make a mark in the team, wants to add to the team. Doesn't matter he knows his role. It's very clear his role. We know that obviously, or we don't know actually, but I would like to think that coming the summer, we've got lots of money to spend, and he won't be maybe part of this. But, going forward, he wants to make the impact now. He's living in the moment now, and I think he'll be able to contribute in a big way.
And he realises as well, if he's on the bench, that puts him in the game tomorrow, anything's possible. Yeah. He could make himself a hero. Yeah. He could make himself a legend, by one appearance. If put it this way, I'll paint a picture for you, Marcel. It's early, but I'm going to paint a picture for all of you. Let's say it's 0-0, right? 90th minute, 93rd minute, or last kick of the game. Weghorst, he's just got registered in time today. He comes on and he scored the winner in a Manchester derby at Old Trafford. Even if he never played again for Manchester United.
Of course.
The next game he broke his leg and he never played for United again. You go, but that one appearance. What is also known as the Makeda effect.
Yeah.
They only talk about that one goal.
That Villa.
And that's all it takes. A last-minute late winner. That was against Aston Villa at Old Trafford, pushing for a title. In the Manchester derby, if he could do that, and he knows that as well. He's 30. He realises, look, I'm not past my prime, but certainly I'm looking... There's more time in the rearview mirror than in, looking in front of me. Yeah. He will know that, and that's what he's looking for, certainly. Be sure to smash a like on the like button, guys. Got over 1,000 people watching. Castellet says you can lead Weghorst to water, but a glazer makes you stink. I'm not sure where that one was going.
What was
I thought it was going to be you can lead a Weghorst to water, but there's going to be something about goals or something like that. I mean, it's about drinking. I mean, it's okay. As someone that was all over the punch yesterday, it's okay. We're 8 likes away from 200 as well, so if you haven't already, be sure to smash a like on the like button. But look, Marcel, we could talk about Weghorst for days here. What we really need is an in-depth report. What we really need is analysis of the highest quality and the highest level. And who better to do that but a scout? So we thought we'd get a scout report. Josh, roll the tape.
Yo, people, I'm back. Scouting ain't easy, but someone's got to do it. And guess what, people? I'm a scout. Where have I been? I've been in Qatar, looking for players. And you know what? It's a hard situation because the brief Man United applied to me was different. They said, listen, we got Klarna payments. Can you help me out? Now, to scouts and agents, we refer to Man United now as Portugal. Singapore. But I think that's totally racist, and I won't be using that while I continue to scout at the highest level. Again, I'm doing my job, and with what they've given me, I found you guys the perfect player. I want you to close your eyes at your phone, at your laptop, even if you're using a watch, and picture these 3 things. Number 1, Jeffrey from Toys R Us. Number 2, Simba from The Lion King. And number 3, Black Beauty. Merge those things together. What do you have? You have, yes, you guessed it, a Wout Weghorst. Oh, if he loves the club, was a person, it'd be Wout Weghorst. Yes, this man showed an extreme determination to play in red. He wanted to play his own transfer fee. Man United. Now, hold on. Brand needed. Because you're broke. There's no sponsor. But we ain't got to worry about that. We got to talk about what you are getting. Man United don't have anything that resembles a player like this. Let's go and let's watch. 6'7", 84 kg, give or take. But this is what we're all about. It's the determination. It's the low shooting. A goal. 1 in 2. Look at it. He's got an eye for goal. What people are not, it's these shots. And no keeper wants to get down that low. Should he get low? It's the apple bottom jeans. Boots in the fur.
Oh my goodness, Marcel. There's been a lot of confusion by a lot of people saying KG the Scout. They're different people.
2 different people.
They're different people, but that's the kind of analysis. People have been wanting the Scout. People have been crying out for the Scout, but he's been busy. He was in Qatar. He was in Qatar.
Busy.
The full analysis is going to be coming soon, don't you worry. That was just a clip. That wasn't even the full thing, Marcel.
Okay.
That was just a clip, so that's coming soon. My favourite thing about that is there will be people actively, especially if the announcement does come today, looking for Wout Weghorst compilation, Wout Weghorst scout report, and they'll hope to see a serious scout report, and they will be met with that.
Hey.
Top-notch analysis, as always, by the scout. And look, if we do any more business, or if there's any other thing you would want the scout to do scouting, because scouting ain't easy, and he's a scout, let us know in the comments below.
Jack Butland?
Let's not go that far. I mean, he commands a high fee, the scout. So we need to make it worth a while. So if that's not worth a like, I don't know what is. Be sure to subscribe as well. Bottom right-hand corner, everyone's loving in the chat, the scout as well. Let's move on and talk about something different. Okay, well, we'll keep our eye out for the Wout Weghorst stuff, if indeed that does happen this morning too. I do want to talk about summer transfer budgets, Marcel, because this was quite an interesting one. This came from the Telegraph yesterday, saying that a change in ownership will make little difference to Manchester United's summer transfer budget if revenues are not significantly boosted by the return of Champions League football and player sales. Ten Hag may have to choose between a pedigree striker or a midfielder, given the impact of UEFA's new financial sustainability rules and the £307 million Manchester United still owe in transfer fee instalments. This is something we actually just touched on yesterday, saying United owe over 300 million in transfer fee instalments right now. And unless we get Champions League football,
the likes of Maguire, I think he still has some, asset value. But we know, I think we knew, Champions League's obviously going to maybe boost the value of the club. That maybe makes it a bit more profitable for the Glazers potentially. But that's quite interesting. I mean, I would have to look into what the new rules would be for the financial fair play. But I think we knew as a side that, and we've earned this position, this right to say that we can compete for the top four. I think that's what we're looking for now. And I think that was always Ten Hag's aim. But if we don't get into there, I think that would be detrimental financially, because we've spent this Ed Woodwardness of all these expensive wages for a long period of time now. It's gonna, you've got to pay the piper at some point, and we're suffering from that, year on year. Poor business deals, installments, which is what clubs usually do. But we've also done 80 million cash up front on Maguire, which is just such a silly deal to do. But lots of dividend payments that you have to pay in increments for certain footballers. It's going to add up if you're not in the biggest competitions.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting because, and I did a tweet about this last night, saying that when we talk about new ownership and new owners, I think people get really carried away because they hear that like Dubai, or they hear like Qatar, or they hear about these consortiums, and they look at people like Todd Bowley and they'd assume United's just going to spend so much money in the summer. Oh, just wait for what we're going to do in the summer. And that might not be particularly the case, even with new ownership, because of the sins of the past. We may have to wait like another season to pay off those transfer fees. We may have to wait another season to make more money or have investment, so that in January or the summer after next, we're able to then spend big on players. And it's so typical of the current ownership or the current structure at United, isn't it? That even once they're gone, we're still paying for what they did. We're still paying for their sins of the past. But the only hope, I suppose, is that, and this goes to show why it's so crucial that we get top four this season, is that if we get top four, not only can we attract better players, but we might actually be able to afford them in the summer. If we don't finish in the top four, because if we go 2 seasons without being in the Champions League, that will hurt financially. Not just in terms of our pride, but financially that will hurt as well. And I said this before, with the change that is happening at United, you want to give Ten Hag and the club the best possible options to succeed. And that is by finishing in the top four, being able to attract bigger players next summer, being able to afford them. But again, that's why this season is so important. But the positive thing is, Marcel, is we are well in that top four race at the moment.
Yeah. And regarding that, obviously, Chelsea, in the mud, Liverpool in the mud, Spurs playing poor football right now. So we're definitely a candidate to be in that top four race right now, and rightly so. But like you said, and like the scout's been saying, Kalana payments, it's holding us back. It's holding us back in a major way right now. And we just need to make sure that we get into that top four. I think Ten Hag, that was always his aim, to be in and around that level of competition. Gives you access to the best players. If he's still going to go back for the Frankie de Jong saga, which is up to him, but I wouldn't be surprised if Ten Hag does that. He's really adamant on his targets from what I've seen.
But even if he wants to go back to the Frankie de Jong saga, got in the top 4.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that condition's already been put out there last summer, is it not?
Yeah, exactly. So it's definitely an aim for us, and we're definitely in and around that level. But again, we needed reinforcements. We got the 2 loans in, which is a good thing. But these Kalana payments, man, we've been very, very poor and incompetent in the market for a long period of time, and that just doesn't get fixed straight away, like you're saying. And that means maybe 1 year, 2 years on, you're still suffering from that. But being in the Champions League consistently helps. It gives us access to the best players. We was talking a little bit about Harry Kane. I don't think he's going to want to play in the Europa League. So it's good signs.
And also as well, again, I posted this yesterday on Twitter too, that Todd Boehly is the perfect example that just throwing money at it means nothing. Yeah. They've spent, the ironic thing is we owe over 300 million in transfer fee installments. They've spent over 300 million since the summer. Since Todd Boehly came in, they've spent over 300 million. They are 10th. In terms of return on investment, that is shocking. And let's face it, they're not going to be in the Champions League next season. That's safe to say at this point. So how is that going to impact them? But that should be, and that has to be, the mindset of the United fans when we look at who these new owners are going to be, the next ownership is going to be. It's not just about money. It's about strategy. Yeah. That's the important thing. You can't just throw money and buy players and go, we've signed João Felix, it's fine. We've signed Koulibaly, it's fine. We've signed whoever, it's fine. It doesn't work like that. You have to be in sync with the manager. You have to be in sync with the ownership structure at the club. And you can't just have a money person come in and go, I'm going to do it. I know what I'm doing. Do all of these deals. I've seen people praising Todd Boehly, which I just can't wrap my head around. People going, look at him coming in the Premier League. Look, that's how you do business, spending money. What's it doing for them? Nothing. It's about the person. It's about the personality, as Ten Hag says. It's about not just buying people. It's about buying the right people. They have to fit. They have to fit the club structure, the club ethos, and the management style. The manager has to want them. You can't just give a manager players and be like, make it work. We've done that before. We couldn't make it work. What we have done last summer was an example of that, of give players that the manager wanted. We know that Ten Hag is leading this recruitment strategy right now. So whoever that new owner is, yes, back the manager. Yes, give them money if there's money to be given in terms of FFP, but also give the manager what he wants, not what you want. Don't do a Todd Boehly and go, who are Arsenal interested in? Oh, we'll buy them. Who are United in? Oh, we'll put a bid in. That's what they were doing. The whole Frankie de Jong thing. They started circling around that. João Felix started circling around that. Mudryk, I think he's going to go to Arsenal, but they were circling around that for a little bit. No, you can't just be looking at what everyone else is doing. Focus on yourself. Have a strategy. And I said last night, sporting excellence. Whoever those new owners are, sorry, John Murto, but there's probably better people out there than you. Find better people than that and make sure they run the club properly. I mean, you don't want to give credit to City, but they have people that run the club properly in terms of the transfer strategy. Very rarely have they spent those big numbers, those big transfer fees. Grealish, and ironically enough, jury's still out on it. Erling Haaland, they got that right, but it was a release clause. Apart from that, usually it's 50, 60 million. And importantly, it's players that Pep wants. It's all about what the manager wants. And that's what United need. It's not just throwing money at the situation. Because let's face it, we have thrown money at the situation. We've got a large transfer spend, but the spend's been rubbish. Ten Hag said that himself too, that we've spent too much on average players for too long. That has to change. And with all of the change going on at United, that's the important thing to change as well.
Facts on facts on facts on facts on facts.
Up there, Marcel.
On facts on facts. I don't think you said anything wrong. I don't even need to add. They need to replay that back and just hear it again, word for word. Facts on facts. We're in a situation now where we need to align the structure properly. And I think Ten Hag's doing that. I feel like Ten Hag has almost got the Sir Alex Ferguson effect right now. The moment he shook that man's hand at the first game at home, it was as if he's the passing of the torch to me. Sir Alex used to have autonomy and complete control of everything that happened within the club, and I feel like Ten Hag's got that. He's got the respect of the players. He was deliberate in saying that he's realigned his vision with John Murta and the board, saying that they are on the same page. And every single signing has been someone that Ten Hag wants. You can see the disease that it is when your chairman comes and dictates who comes in. João Felix is random player coming in, this player, that player. I don't think these are the type of players that Potter most probably wants. But anyway, I really don't care about their business, and I'm glad that they're suffering in the way they are. It has nothing to do with me. But in terms of our structure, we need to align it closer to Ten Hag's vision. And like what you're saying, once we get the players like Weghorst and stuff like that, you can clearly see these are players that maybe Ten Hag wants. Yes, within the predicament and the structure and the context of Paul Glazer economics and this and that, but if it's a player that Ten Hag wants, you have to back him simply because it's somebody that's aligning to how he wants to envision, how his style of play on the pitch, and things of that nature, to be honest.
Let's see what a couple of the members are saying. Zoe says no financial strategy means you spend more than you have. Daniela says if we make top 4, it should be fine with the takeover. Let's just hope the new owners have more than one club, etc., like Man City or PSG. Tavislav, one of the big mods, says we won't get the top 4. By the way, whoa,
Wow,
Tavislav, but also says something that I do agree with: get the likes up. Did you know? This is an interesting fact, Marcel. For every like, Marcel grows a millimeter.
I wish. Send that up.
Yeah, so depending on how many likes we get, Marcel could be the size of, I don't know, the great Kali, Andre the Giant by the end of this.
I'm actually happy at the size I am actually, though. I'm very happy with this
There's
size.
nothing wrong with it,
Yeah, I'm actually very happy with this size.
But if you do wish to help Marcel out, click the like button. Owen, if you ever do that,
Owen, if that ever happens, Owen, you're a genius.
Could you imagine if that's all it took?
That's it.
All right, thanks, Marcel. We reached 1.5k in terms of likes. Unbelievable.
You're a genius.
So there you go. So be sure to smash a like on the like button. The likes are going up now. That's what it takes. Marcel, can you feel the growth? Anything's possible. Let's talk about Old Trafford, because obviously there's been so much talking about Old Trafford for a couple of years now. Wow, there's been a lot of talk and discourse about Old Trafford needing redevelopment, the roof leaking, facilities not being great. You know, at one point it was the best stadium in England, in the world. Now it's not even the best stadium in Manchester. You know, so much going wrong with it. And United had been exploring how to redevelop it, how to change it. However, those plans are on hold. Things are stopping right now. This comes from the Daily Mail, saying that Manchester United have been presented with 2 overall concepts for Old Trafford. One was based on remaining at Old Trafford, while the other was a switch to a new state-of-the-art stadium. A new stadium could cost £2 billion, whilst an upgrade could be north of £1 billion. However, Old Trafford's redevelopment is now effectively on hold, with any expansion likely to be decided on by the new owner. So, one, that would make sense, because why on earth would the Glazers pay for a new stadium whilst they're selling the club? What would you prefer? Would you prefer a redevelopment of what's already there for over $1 billion, or would you prefer new stadium, knock it down, start again? I know people are attached to the structure that's there, the history that's there, but look, if you knocked it down, built it on the same site, is that still Old Trafford, or is that something different? What do you want? Do you want the best in class, or do you want history?
Massive question.
Poll in the chat, Josh.
Yeah, Josh, please. A massive question. Idyllic, beautiful club, beautiful stadium. Would love, one day when I have my own children to take them there to the exact same ground. But I think in the world you need change, philosophical Marcel again, but you need change in this world. There's cycles. You need to change the way things happen in this world. You can't. It's called Old Trafford. When we were playing an old style of football, we had an old mentality. Maybe we need a new Trafford and a new style and a new mentality. So I don't know. It's a bit psychological in that way, but it's been abused. It's been redeveloped as much as it possibly could, and then that's how you can't have the exact same microwave for 20 and 30 years. It's not going to be as efficient. It might be old with the times. You look at Tottenham Stadium. It's completely state of the art, brand new. Owen, I've been in there. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. It's a shame the football doesn't go with it, but it's ridiculous. So, you need to sometimes refresh things in life, and I think the stadium is definitely one of those things, and it's the whole environment, the training ground. You got the guys over on the east side of Manchester. It's completely different there. The training ground's there, the stadium's there, state of the art.
They've got an indoor arena next to it
It's ridiculous, and it's annoying me because we were meant to be the best in class in the country, in the world. And you have to, that has to show in everything that is around, the women's team, everything needs to improve. So it's a huge investment job, but I definitely would side with the fact that even though it's the most beautiful stadium and it's dear to me, it needs to change. And whether it's the exact same plot of land, where do we play next? Is my question to you. Where do you play if you knock down the exact same place?
Yeah, I mean, they're really interesting points you make there. I mean, I know that, ironically enough, Chelsea are looking at a similar situation of looking to build a new stadium, and there was a report they could be at Wembley for like 3 years or even longer than that or something. And the thing is, for Manchester United, there isn't that place to go to. I mean, we're not going to show a city.
No way.
You know? So what would we do? It's a good point. There is a poll in the chat, this is a very Josh Written poll, which I enjoy. He said, would you knock down Old Trafford and build a new Trafford?
Yeah.
New Trafford.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I think you took that from me. I just said that. Oh, you ready? Are you ready before I said it?
But the point being
Right,
is
Josh.
that the polls in the chat, we've already got nearly 200 votes. It's close. It is close. 55% say yes, 44% say no, they would. So the majority at the moment, a slim majority, are saying they would knock it down. My opinion is, and I said this way back when this stuff first started coming out, I say knock it down.
Yeah.
I think that people, unfortunately, not that you should forget history, and you never should forget history, never forget the past, but people get too attached to what's there and they hate change. Yeah. The outrage that's always there when anyone changes their club badge, like it's never happened before. You know, we can see a thing off camera. Look at all of those different badges Manchester United have had.
Yeah,
things change, things evolve, and ultimately, it's a bit contradictory because at the same time, people say, why can't we keep up with these people? Why don't we invest? Why don't we have the best in class? Why don't we have the best facilities? But at the same time, they're saying keep what we have or try and maintain what you have. And I understand that people could say, well, I just want to, you can redevelop it, you can upgrade it, but I want to maintain that structure. I want to maintain, you know, that feel, that history. But at the same time, you know, with Old Trafford specifically as a stadium, there is from almost a construction point of view, there's very little they can actually do there. Yeah. I mean, that's been the point, isn't it? That they've upgraded it and expanded it so much to the point they're like, we can't really add much more. We can do a little bit. Maybe we can get screens in. Maybe we can improve the Wi-Fi there. Maybe we can improve the roof. Maybe we can give it a lick of paint. But if we want to have the best in class, you're going to have to knock it down. You're going to have to start over again. And again, I know people won't want to hear that, but things change.
Yeah.
Life goes on.
Yeah.
And with this new stadium, if it brings success, if it brings, 20, 30, 40 years of success, then people will go, you make new history.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You make new history. Things can't stay the same forever, unfortunately.
Yes.
And yes, you can look back on things fondly, but at the same time, it's not. I would have an issue if it was moved to a different point in Manchester. Then you go, wow, is that even really the spirit of Old Trafford anymore? That's kind of different. We don't really know those details, but I just think sometimes people can be too attached to it. But at the same time, again, I understand why they would be, because there is so much history there, more history than most other stadiums in the UK or the world. So I understand that too. And people will say, for instance, Marcel, they'll look at, say, like the Nou Camp or the Bernabeu, and they'll say, well, they're being upgraded, they're being redeveloped, why can't we do that? But they had better expansion potential than Old Trafford did.
Correct.
Again, it's almost a construction problem.
Yeah.
That's the issue.
Yeah, and we can expand it to well beyond, we can get up to the 100,000s now. You can't really do that on top of this. We've maximized it as much as possible. But just a side note, though, I don't think we should have screens, I like the fact that there's no screens. No, I like the fact that there's no screens in there. I like that. I know that when we change it or whatever, there'll be loads of screens everywhere. It'll be, sound efficient, and the way that the sounds will bounce off certain parts of this. That's what Tottenham are doing, by the way. So I'm only guessing what potentially could happen for us. But I know they'll add screens. But I actually like the fact that in Old Trafford there's no screens. That's quite a unique factor, and it means that the people that are in there, that they have the most up to date, freshest in their mind vision of what's happening in the game. They're the most. It makes it quite unique.
I remember the first time I went to Old Trafford as a kid. It was in the early 2000s. It was Leeds at home when they were in the Premier League. The season they got relegated, and it was 1-1. And I saw the little strip, you know what I mean, with the score and that on, and the clock counting backwards, and I was so confused by it. I was like, you know what I mean?
I just think it's
like we've said before,
it's just amazing.
With Old Trafford, that feeling of when you walk up the steps,
it's just amazing,
and the stadium just opens up in front of you. You're greeted by this wall of red and this patch of bright green in the grass, and you can feel it. There's this sort of chill in the air of that Manchester air. There is nothing that beats it. But at the same time,
it has to change, though.
Yes, something's got to give there, but something apparently is not going to give anytime soon, because again, everything's effectively on hold until this sale process is done. As far as an update on the sale process, there ain't one. What was quite interesting, and this is a bit of crossover for my two worlds. So obviously, the Manchester United sale process is being led by the Rain Group, and
WWE.
last night WWE again, my second love, you can go and check out my channel, Owen Wrestle News 365. They announced that their strategic alternatives process is being led by, you guessed it, the Rain Group. Oh, they're all over the place.
I see some gifts with Vincent McMahon.
Walking into Old Trafford, could you believe it?
What's the chances of that? You would know. What's the chances of that? This guy's got a lot of money.
He's looking to sell WWE. He won't buy. There was a weird story years ago, I mean like a decade ago, that he wanted to buy Newcastle. Okay. And ironically enough, there was a rumor earlier this week that WWE is going to be bought by the Saudi PIF, which now own Newcastle. But that's not the case, although they are one of the interested parties. All of that's covered on the channel. Be sure to check it out. So yeah, I just thought, two worlds collide. Incredible stuff. Super chat from Keegan says, Old Trafford is the church. How do you knock it? Thoughts?
Churches have been built everywhere all over the world.
They get redeveloped.
Yeah.
Knock down, new ones get built.
Yeah.
I mean, not like, the Sistine Chapel or something like that. Maybe that's the point, right? Maybe not the Vatican.
I don't know. A place of worship is a place of worship. It can be anywhere.
Good point, Marcel. Witterbird says, could you not see a huge museum and concert venue? Oh, as if to say like a complex at United. Well, that's the thing too, isn't it? And this is the thing. Again, you don't want to give City credit, but that whole Etihad sort of complex that is there, or the Etihad, I think it's the Etihad campus, I think it's called.
Wow.
Whatever it's called, is like, there's the Etihad Stadium there, which they're still actively redeveloping and adding more seats to. How they fill it up, I don't know. But behind that is the training stadium, which is something like, is it 10,000, something like
Ridiculous.
that? And that's for the under-23s as well. Next to that now is the Co-op Arena, which is an indoor concert venue. Like, they've got everything there. And the point being, and this is my point when it goes to strategy as well, whoever comes in, it's not just throwing money at that, because you've got to try and catch up with that and supersede that, whilst at the same time, they're actively spending money. It's not like they're going to be United, then they're going to go, we're done, we don't need to spend anything for the next decade. They're constantly going to be spending. So the strategy has to be so pinpoint, so perfect to level up and get to the same point. On the field, obviously, but off the field as well, that's going to be challenging. So that's why, the stadium's important in that. Yeah,
and that's why when we're talking about the Rain Group, hopefully they're talking about these kind of things that we're saying right now. These are key factors. Hopefully they're not just selling it to the highest bidder. They're selling it to someone that actually cares about what's going to happen with the club. Hopefully, I would like to think that that's the case, because, we need a complex like the Super Chats were suggesting there. We need something that is very, holistic in terms of its values, the principles, and it's including everyone. I don't think the women's team even train in and around the same places that the men's team train. Little things like that, and it's very important. It builds culture around football clubs, and I think Ten Hag's about that. Yeah. So we need that kind of thing, and hopefully that it's not about money per se. It's about that will come in abundance. Whoever does take on the club and they spend and set the foundations, that will come in abundance. We've already a commercial entity. It's the biggest commercial entity, I believe, in the world, and that will come in abundance. It's just about getting the foundations right, and I think Ten Hag's the perfect guy to spearhead that.
But even the geographic location, that's what it comes back to, isn't it? Like, doing a women's stadium or a reserve stadium behind Old Trafford and an indoor arena, like, that's not possible where Old Trafford is.
Yes.
It's just not.
Yes.
The fact that there's a hotel there and it's owned by Man United players and not the club, ex-players thought that's a better investment opportunity, and the club went, oh.
Yeah.
Even that's crazy.
But I think there is space a little bit behind it, I think. There's
the canal as well, isn't there? There's the railway. I mean, again, it's difficult.
Yeah, it's a construction. Like, somebody has to be a genius to get it right. But if you do get it right, it's building foundations for many years to come. It needs to change, Owen.
Yeah.
So however we do make it happen, I think you might even have to change the location of the pitch in itself. Unfortunately, but the pitch is kind of a hazardous.
Kind of what Spurs did, didn't they? Yeah. I think Spurs, it's in the same location as White Hart Lane, but didn't they, it's built on one end of the pitch and they moved out or something like that?
It's going to be a little bit of you got to kind of Tetris, get the position correct, but
construction view this morning.
Yeah. But it can work. I believe it can work, man, and it will benefit the club, the community, the fans, everything. So
we're nearly at 1,400 people watching live. We are just over 100 likes away from 500 likes. Let's see if we can get to 500.
Increase my height a little bit.
And exactly, have you noticed? If I go down like that, look. Yeah. Miracles. Or if I do perspective, if I go really far in the background like this.
I'll come closer, Shaq. Come closer.
Look at that. That's what you did. That's what you did with your likes. So if you do more, who knows what will happen by the end of the show? I'll just be peeking up over the desk.
I'll stand up. Actually, I'm already standing up, but I'll stand up.
Marcel's been on his tiptoes the whole show. I'm sitting down. And his booster seat. We're going to have to get that back up. So be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right hand corner as well. Marcel, I'm so glad you're here this morning because when I saw this story, I'm glad you're here anyway. But when I saw this story, I thought this is brilliant because the shirt's over there. It's waiting for you in the summer because of the bet. The David De Gea shirt. It's over there right in the corner. They can't see it on camera.
Okay, cool. I don't even look at it.
But coming from the Telegraph yesterday, and this has been a story that has been put out there for the last sort of 48 hours or so, saying that Erik ten Hag wants to sign a top striker with the likes of Harry Kane, Benjamin Šeško, Victor Osimhen on the club's radar. Another leading midfielder such as Frankie de Jong or Jude Bellingham are also on the list. But Harry Kane is someone that has been more linked to United in the last week or so. I sent you a WhatsApp message the other day. It was from Mark Ogden saying that Harry Kane could be an option for United. And you know what? Sometimes you've got to give the Red Devil his due, because the points that they're making are the same points that you have made previously when they've said, if you were to stay in England, if you would want to move to a club that's got a better chance of winning trophies, not a guarantee, but a chance of winning trophies, which isn't Spurs at the moment. No way. He'll have like 1 year left on his contract, I think, something like that, or two, whatever it may be. Man United might be Harry Kane's best option. Marcel, thoughts?
Thank you, Owen. You know, and you did say you're glad to see me, so thank you as well. You know, I mean, I've been saying this for a long time. Bruno Fernandes and Harry Kane are in and around the same spaces. Just seems like a lot of problems and headaches for for defensive systems. This guy is a world class player, you know, and he's still chasing that 280 from Alan Shearer, and I think he'll surpass it at Manchester United. Ten Hag's going to get Champions Leagues. Ten Hag's going to get Premier League titles.
He's going to get Champions Leagues.
He's going to get Champions Leagues. He's going to get Premier League titles, and Harry Kane can definitely add to that. That Harry Kane is a world-class footballer, a complete striker, and right now, there's a striker crisis in terms of in the market as well. There's not that many great strikers right now that are already ready to play and affect a team. Yes, Osimhen, I think, is going to become a great forward. Yes, Gonzalo, what's his name? Gonzalo Ramos. Yeah. Paolo knows that pronunciation well. But, you know, even him, he's a fantastic young forward. But these players are maybe 2 and 3 years in the making. Harry Kane's ready now and will affect the team correctly and support the team correctly now. And he will add to this side. I think he can get us over the line in terms of having an elite strike force. I think he's an upgrade massively on the likes of Tony Marshall. And you know, he's somebody that we should be looking at immediately. We should be trying to put him in the side as soon as possible. As for the David De Gea thing, I've already admitted my wrongdoings. And can we get away from this shirt? Do I have to wear it still?
You trying to get out of a bet?
No, because remember, I did say it was 2 seasons. Originally, we reduced it to 1 season
because I didn't want to wait that long.
It's true. But now people are starting to speak about Harry Kane. What happens if Harry Kane comes? Do you have to wear a Harry Kane shirt?
I don't have a problem wearing a Harry Kane shirt. I don't know how to break it to you, Marcel. I'm not going to fit into that David De Gea small shirt. I mean, that might be the humiliating thing that I have to do, is that I have to try and fit on that shirt, and I'll break it.
Okay, yeah, well, I don't want to wear it.
Have you seen that picture of Peter Griffin with the Spider-Man costume on, and there's like guts hanging out of it, and it looks like he's being choked by it? That's what it would be like.
I'd like to see it. I'd like to see a meme of you wearing that. I would like to see a Peter Griffin meme with Owen. Yeah. I'd like to see that meme. That's what I'd like to see.
Well, look, you know, we'll see what happens. The Kane thing, look, I have never disputed that Harry Kane coming to United, I think even at this stage in his career, is a great signing, because he comes in, even if he comes in for like 2 or 3 years, he will get 20 plus goals in the Premier League, you would think, right, in those seasons. Harry Kane under Erik ten Hag, I think that Harry Kane in any side, it works. Yeah. It works. I still have my doubts as to why he would specifically choose United. If his thing is, I'm 29 coming into 30, I need to win trophies right now. Facts. Like right now. Facts. Then that's when you go United. We're on the right path, seemingly, but how long is it going to take to get to that point? But come the end of the season, look, if we win the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup, he might think,
trophies are there.
You know what I mean? But they won trophies last season. If we're in the Champions League, he might think, you know, if it looks like, as KG said, we're 1 striker away, he might think,
that's just aligning beautifully. I forgot about that.
That might be what he thinks. Yeah. it depends on what happens with Spurs as well, because let's face it, I think the only reason he decided to stay ultimately at Spurs and was a bit more confident in staying was because Conte came in. You know, Spurs refused to sell initially to Man City. I mean, I think they said 100 million and then City went, okay. They went 120 million, City went, okay. And then they went, we don't want to actually sell him because he had like 3 years left or 4 years left on a contract. It was coming out of the Euros in 2021.
Yeah.
Since then, though, he's got less time on his contract. You would think Conte's going to be probably gone at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Who are they going to be bringing in? I mean, again, that depends. Like, if they brought back Pochettino, could Pochettino convince him to stay?
No way.
Maybe. You know, it's basically Harry Kane has to make a decision, doesn't he? He has to decide, do I want to be a one-club guy for the rest of my career? Probably not win anything. Break records, you know, be the Premier League top goal scorer ever, be England's highest goal scorer ever, you know, have a good career in that sense. Or do I want to take that jump? Do I want to take that risk, go somewhere else, still break those records in terms of the Premier League? If he stays in the Premier League, he'll break the record.
Yeah.
But the problem is in the Premier League, unless you go to, say, City, nowadays there isn't a sure thing as to winning trophies, is there?
You've seen Liverpool suffer.
In other countries there is.
Yeah.
If you went to Real Madrid or Barcelona, you'll win a trophy. If you go to Bayern Munich, you'll win the league. It depends what he wants to do from that. But again, to give the devil his due, I don't think it's totally off the cards anymore. I don't. But a lot of people in the chat are saying no, Marcel. A lot of people... Marcel's face. He was horrified. Zoe Muller, one of our members, says no Kane, no Kane, no Kane. Ed says no Kane. Ramos says no declining players anymore.
Oh, that's good.
Paul says I would take Son. Lucky says I don't know why Harry Kane didn't move early to big clubs for new trophies. Fat Boy says we don't want declining players. DD22 says Kane gets a lot of good delivery from Tottenham and England. He gets a lot of support and he flops them. So Zoe Muller says Ramos is a better option than Kane. I don't want him. He also has little to no ambition. Ed says Osimhen, Jonathan David, Ramos over Kane. So it's interesting. And Dilver says Erik ten Hag would want a player that can press from the front.
Yeah. Okay. So there's definitely negatives to the vast amount of positives that he does bring. Obviously the ankle issue. I think he's quite injury prone. But he's been matching Haaland this season for goals. Yes, the pressing I don't think is prolific. I think it's still a little bit laboured, similar to Tony Marshall's. But at the end of the day, I think he's still ambitious. I think he still wants to win trophies, and he's going to have a little bit of an grievance to to City because he didn't get to play for them. So that's a positive there. But I've seen other teams suffer without, there's no guarantee except for maybe City to be competing in and around the top. I've seen Liverpool suffer this season. I've seen Chelsea. I've seen other teams that are competing or want to or feel that they have the divine right to step toe to toe with City, and then there's no such thing. I think Harry Kane definitely adds to our side. If you're talking about a player that drops deep, he's much better than Tony Marshall at doing it and linking plays. He's a goals and assists double figures man. How many people do that season after season? It's clear to me. Yes, he's a bit older. He's definitely a bit older, and Osimhen, I think, is the closest one to him in terms of the next one becoming a complete striker. Fantastic player, but he's just got a couple more years left on him. And if you can get he's like an elite stopgap, if you want to put it that way. I do understand maybe there's other strikers in world football, and I would like to take them younger players as well in terms of a longer vision. But, he's an elite stopgap. That is one of the best in the world in terms of goals and assists. You're going to guarantee yourself there double figures in both.
Keegan, one of our members, says Marcel on crack.
We need the KG. We need the KG soundboard. We need the KG soundboard. We need the KG soundboard.
The reaction of
it's
that's
normal.
what I was waiting for.
That's what I was
waiting for. Tank says the biggest question is, does Erik ten Hag want Kane? And look, that's the key thing.
Yeah.
If Erik ten Hag said, I want Harry Kane, hands up.
Yeah.
That's give the manager what he wants.
Yeah.
A couple of member chats before we wrap things up. Ed says he doesn't press at all. He doesn't lead the line, and he's not physical enough. I would.
He does his fair dues. He's not brilliant at it. But he does his fair dues.
Yeah. Be sure to smash a like on the like button as well. We're less than 50 likes away from 500. So before we wrap things up, we can get to 500 likes. Easy. We believe in you. There's over 1,300 people watching here. Yeah. Remember, you got to give a like for the scout as well.
Yeah.
And to raise Marcel's height. There's a lot on
this.
There's a lot on this morning. So if you haven't already, click that like button. Be sure to subscribe as well. Bottom right hand corner. What's on tap for the remainder of the day? Well, I will tell you. Of course, if there is any Wout Weghorst news, we will be bringing it to you here on the channel. There's also going to be a press conference, I think, think, at some point today. Okay. When that is, I shall be live going through it and probably dissecting all of the journalist questions, probably getting angry at some bad ones, probably praising some good ones. So we'll get some latest news when it comes to the derby tomorrow. Speaking of the derby too, Combined 11 is out 6 p.m. this evening on the channel. Yes, that was filmed and that got... Well, I won't give any spoilers away, actually. Okay. I'm not going to give any spoilers but I will say Noel Edmonds. That's my hint for it.
Okay.
Do you know that reference?
No. Educate me. I don't know.
Noel Edmonds.
No, you're saying it twice, and Josh is saying I don't know.
He hosted a game show. No Edmonds. Well, no. You hosted a game show?
No. I'm sorry, man. We done this last time with the Star Wars thing. Remember last time?
How do you not know? Deal or No Deal?
Okay, yeah. Is that the guy?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Sorry, man. I'm not going to lie to you.
Nevertheless, that's coming out 6 p.m. We were joined by Tom, Man City fan. Really enjoyable, so be sure to check that out. If that's not, again, worth a like, I don't know what is. Deal or no deal on the likes, Marcel?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Deal.
Deal.
Anyway, we're out of here. Have a good one. We'll speak to you again soon. Peace.